Berlin in 53, and Poland and Hungary in 56, and on and on. So it's a kind of an ironic situation where you've got that kind of an exchange under those conditions. But then later, East Central Europe from the 1970s on roughly becomes a burden for the Soviet Union. And he's eventually abandoned by Gorbachev, saying, oh, you go your own way now. And there was an economic rationale to that. I'm not claiming anything to do with an imperialist relationship, but I'm just trying to sort of look at the way in which Russia, the Soviet Union, interacts, Russia interacts internally, or the regions of the Soviet Union interact internally, and how the Soviet Union related externally in that one direction. And so all I can really do, rather than sort of trekking through that history with you, is to sum up and say a few things about the current state of affairs when we look at the Russian state and Russian society, right? And I pose and I make these observations because I'm asking myself, like, together, what does this do these characteristics of the Russian state and society tell us about the Russian state's place in the world today, and whether it even has the ambition to be an imperial power, a hegemon, the regional big boy on its block. Because I do believe that everywhere in the world there are little imperialisms, medium-sized imperialisms, and big imperialisms. British imperialism still exists, believe you me, right? There are a number. You go to Scotland, go to Northern Ireland, go to parts of London, and people will show you that it still exists, right? Because it is a complicated phenomenon. But with the Russian state, I have these questions. First of all, Putin said quite recently that the collapse of the Soviet Union was a great tragedy for the Russian people. For the Russian people. Not for the Soviet people, right? But for the Russian people. And if you trawl through websites of think tanks and specialists and read the Russian press, read the Russian press's commentary on what's happening in Ukraine and the Baltic states and other places, you cannot but get the very strong impression that Russian society has not been able to come to terms with the loss of its historical periphery. There is an important psychological inability in the present day for the Russian people to deal with the loss of this land-based cushion, big land-based cushion around them. Secondly, if we look at the behavior of the Russian state, and this is why I made my comments at the beginning about the nature of imperialism, if you look at the behavior of the Russian state and the big national champions like Gazprom and Rosneft and the big aluminum producers today, what we see is that the Russian state seeks to pave a road for the big industrial producers in Russia to be able to enter the world market and become big players, big transnational players, not just to be national giants, but transnational players. And the road to the market of transnational competition actually goes through the non-Russian territories. So if Gazprom wants to become the big player in European energy gas distribution and the development of new fields and laying new pipelines and things like that, it's got to deal with the fact that 95% of Russian and Turkmenistan gas makes it to Europe through Ukraine, right? So then there is an obligation on the part of the Russian state to engage in diplomacy and all kinds of activities to be able to pave the way for its big companies to go abroad. And it does that. The Russian state is trying to buy the gas pipeline in Ukraine because that's the only way in the long run that it will be able to neutralize that uncertainty. Um, um, the Russian state maintains military bases beyond its borders. 14th Russian Army sits in Moldova, on the other side of the Ukrainian border, next to Romania. There's a Russian naval base in Sevastopol in Crimea. In Georgia, of course, in Ossetia and Abkhazia. We have a number of military bases. In Armenia, in Tajikistan. The Russians are now trying to replace the Americans in Uzbekistan. Why does the Russian state have military bases beyond its borders? Because, like the Americans, the projection of its power and the growth of its wealth depends upon a combination of military, economic, ideological, and other kinds of activities that make for the most efficient way of extracting wealth from peripheries. And the Russian state extracts or helps its private companies extract wealth and grow rich by working those peripheries that were before part of the Soviet Union. Done?
Yeah.
Wind up? Right. Let me just finish up on one point. I don't want two little points, really briefly. What is the Russian state trying to do? Where is it trying to position itself in the world today? I believe that the Russians want to join the West Europeans and the Americans in a global North arrangement in order to have a common front against the global South, which is right on the underbelly of Russia. You know, you look on the underbelly of Russia, what do you see? You see Kurdistan, you see Iran, Afghanistan, you see Tajikistan, you see that arc of instability right below. And why the Russians are talking now with the Europeans and the Americans about a new European security architecture, you know, about multipolarity and all this, it's because they want to join into a compact with the global North. They want to be accepted as part of the global North. I'm talking about the Russian state and its leadership. Finally, Russia is no match for American power in the world. That's obvious. It's a medium-sized power. It's no longer a superpower. But in its own backyard, Russia is a match for the United States of America because the United States of America can't project its power and sustain it several thousand miles from its bases. It's just not possible. And the Russian state is accepted de facto, although not de jure, as the strongman of its region. And that too is a characteristic of the build-up of imperialist power.
Thank you, Mr. Okay, thank you, comrades. There are rumours that the Commune prints in the Georgian font as a statement of our position in Russian imperialism. I can confirm they are true.